Good evening, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords, and welcome to the Star Wars Artifact Show. I'm Dominic, and with my co host Eric, we'll be breaking down episode 8 of the Andor series. So, without further ado, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, and you?
Doing great, doing great.
Nice.
I received a cool package today from Kaya Boutique. As you can see right next to me, I got my Black Series Artillery Trooper helmet, which will put me up to date in my Black Series helmet collection. Yes, I'm crazy enough to have all the Black Series helmets.
All the
And
repaints that they keep saying,
all the repaints.
basically it's the same helmet over and over again, and just but
Yeah,
they look
that's the
pretty
fifth
cool.
repaint for the Stormtrooper
Yeah,
helmet. So
it's good. Well, now that
uh,
they have the clone coming out, they could start repainting that one. So
yeah, it's gonna be repaint galore all over.
can't
Uh,
complain.
when no, I won't be complaining either
Yeah,
when they start doing it because there's so many clones that I got to like and enjoy during the Clone Wars series that I'm gonna be thrilled to have those guys. Obviously I expect a regular 501st repaint, and then I expect that they're gonna make several members of the Captain Rex squad, like Five, Tops, Jesse, uh,
well, in
and
some cases just need to
many
add
more.
a visor, right, to kind of change the character and maybe small revisions, but the base
Y-
is there, I guess, for them to
Yeah,
work off of. So
absolutely. Just for example, for Commander Cody,
yeah,
that's going to be the visor, maybe an antenna in the back, and that's about it.
yeah. If they take out a
Uh,
Rex, I don't think I'll be able to
to
resist.
resist.
Yeah, my kid loved Rex. He's been Rex for a few of the Comic Cons and stuff, so I
The
think
thing
that's what we're
with
gonna do.
Captain Rex is that it's not a regular Phase Two clone trooper.
Yeah, it's like a mix. The visor is different, and
With
then
Phase One
the
and Two,
tusk.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's going to be a bit trickier, but I'm pretty hopeful they're gonna do it. But I expect a Commander Cody before, maybe even Captain Commander Gree.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an easy one because they don't need a visor, so that's gonna be
I'm sure they'll take advantage of every chance they can get to sell a repaint. So
yeah, and they know that we're gonna throw our money at them, so
yeah, it reminds me of Hot Toys that just keeps milking Spider-Man now and before Iron Man, but the Spider-Man was ridiculous. The best
mhm.
thing that could have happened to them was the video game that came out for PlayStation, and they had all these different skins that they can work with, and they just like, all
Yeah,
right, well, let's make a Spider-Man for each one of these. So, and someone needs to have them all, so there you go.
absolutely. The problem is not that they're gonna make numerous elements. The problem is I'm gonna put them.
Yeah,
That's the real problem.
yeah. Well, you can't replace the Scout Trooper, so I don't know. You're gonna have to move all the other stuff, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm gonna have to make some choices and make a rotation, put some in the basement, and uh, depending on what's going on in the Star Wars universe, I'm gonna bring back some and put some in
Keep
storage and
rotating it, yeah.
yeah, make a little rotation, or maybe I'm gonna sell some. I don't know, but I'm gonna make a top 10 Black Series helmet at some point after the holidays. So stay tuned for this video. It's gonna be pretty interesting, and I'm also gonna do the same thing for the Legacy lightsabers as well that
Nice.
I'm collecting. So
Well, I'm hoping that they eventually go with the Scout, because I mean, I wouldn't mind having one on display. Um,
yeah, well, I was expecting an announcement of a Scout Trooper, to be honest, before the Clone Trooper Phase 2, because next year is the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
yeah.
So I was thinking that Hasbro might have, do something interesting marketing wise, but as for now, there has been no announcement on that side. But they make about 5 or 6 helmets per year now, so
Yeah.
it's not too late to get a Scout Trooper helmet before the end of this year. And we were supposed to get the second version of the Darth Vader helmet in April, 2023,
Okay.
and we got it last month. So
Yeah, I noticed that was a little quicker than I had expected. But I mean, I'm
yeah,
not sure
definitely.
exactly the big changes. Are you getting that one or?
Yeah, tomorrow
Oh,
I'm
nice.
actually comparing both elements in
Ah,
my review.
perfect.
So you're gonna be able to see all the differences and decide which version you prefer because
Nice.
one is more episode 3, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, the Rogue One movie, and episode 4. And the oldest is more like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So
Okay.
up for you guys to decide. So make sure to tune in tomorrow on my channel to see what uh, what version you prefer the most.
Nice. So before we start, as usual, obviously for those who
Yeah.
first timers, spoiler alert, we're going to be getting into some details about the episode of the last episode of Andor, which is called Narkina, Narkina 5. So just, make sure that if you haven't watched it, turn this off. Wouldn't want you to turn it off, but turn it off and maybe watch again
Come back
after
later after you
come
see it.
back later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think it's 69 subscribers away from
Yeah.
1,000. So uh, please like and subscribe. So without any further ado, let's get going. So episode 8 feels like it's going really fast.
Mhm.
Begin on Acapulco. Sorry, I mean Niamos. It's I gotta say, just even to start, like this episode was just visually stunning, and
Yeah.
almost every scene was just incredible. So we started with Cassian being escorted by this shore trooper, as we can see here, taking him to Narkina 5, which is like some prison, like on an island. So it was the first time that I guess, it's the first time we've seen this planet, or
Narkina 5, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so we see them boarding the ship, and we immediately switch like to um, the Bureau of Standards, where Cyril receives the visit from ISB officers who take him to Deidre, who interrogates him. Again, we could see how like boring and lifeless his job is. It's like typical cubicle kind of job, I guess, that some people might dread. So we see them walk in and grab him and take him over to Deidre. She asks Cyril what he's looking to achieve um, with all of his is it some kind of like interrogation? What was he doing? He filed 6 false reports on
That's it.
Cassian Andor just to get their attention, and so she asks him what he's looking to achieve, and he answers that he's looking to clear his name. She then asks him if Levin's report was accurate, but he replies he had never even gone to read it. He just signed it, um, and didn't get to see any irregularities or anything like that. So he was, I guess, forced to sign it. So I think she gives him a copy at this point. Yeah, she gives him a copy to read to see if there's anything that's inconsistent with what he had witnessed.
And then, well, we see Cassian's arrival on Narkina 5, a planet on which we discover several carceral facilities. And then what struck me is that all the prisoners in the transport shuttle were asked to remove their shoes before stepping out of the transport.
Yeah,
Uh, and then, well, they immediately cut and we go back to the ISB. So we don't figure out what was going on with the shoes until a little bit later. But at the ISB, Deidre is presenting Colonel Yularen with the Imperial Starpath unit that Cassian tried to sell to Luton in the first arc of the series. Uh, but the ISB has yet to discover Luton's real identity. So for now, they are calling him Axis because he's central to uh, all that's going on regarding the rebellion so far. Uh, and they believe that it's an organized effort to acquire specialized Imperial gear. So little radar are starting to pick up some irregularities for the Empire. And as we see, our friend Major Pentagas here, well, he supports obviously Deidre, stating that Axis is in the middle of other criminal activities, and that the fact that they don't know more about him is troubling. Uh, so I guess why he mentions that, because they should be on top of everything. They obviously aren't. So uh, they're not panicking or anything, but they want to get to the bottom of all this situation. So Deidre adds that she wants to find Andor, so it could lead them to the bigger fish, which is Axis.
So it was weird before we move on to see Pentagaz. Like, he's always seems to be like in control and
Hmm.
seems to be the authoritative figure. But in this case, even in the expression you can see in this photo, he looks like he's a lot more submissive than we've seen him before. And
True.
yeah, it's just
He's being a bit cautious
yeah,
because the big guy is in the room. So,
yeah. So I know it's something I had noticed for sure.
and Yularen mentioned last episode that he already has Palpatine's ear, so
Yeah,
he has access to the even bigger guy. So there's always a bigger fish. Qui-Gon used to say. So
yeah, sure. Coincidentally, we'll get to Qui Gon probably a little bit later after the breakdown.
yeah,
So on Arkina 5, the prisoners are welcomed by the facility's security officers, and they're all wearing these big, massive rubber boots. And I'm surprised. I mean, I'm sure it's already out there, but I'm sure someone's gonna identify what boot, what maker, what brand, and all that stuff, and what variation of it. Who knows? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's about to pop out there, especially if anyone's
yeah.
gonna
I,
do
I thought he
anything.
was coming back from snowboarding somewhere
Yeah,
in the Alps,
exactly.
or
I thought, at first I thought maybe it was something that was like kind of like magnetic or something like that.
yeah. You know what? It reminded me a bit of the boots in the movie with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, Face Off.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
prison, they have like magnetic boots.
yeah. I think that's
At
what I
some
think
point.
that's what I was getting images. I couldn't remember the movie, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
One of the officers uses a remote to activate the electrical shocks from the floor that is made of with tungstoid. Is that the
Yeah,
uh,
the tungstoid
tungstoid
steel.
steel?
Yeah.
Um, Visibly ultra conductive like metal, and like they just crumble to the ground the minute that gets turned on. When supervisor Miro comes back to Cyril, um, he tells her that several details are missing from Blevins' report. He describes Luthen as best as he can. And I mean, what do you say? He had a dark coat. I think it was gray. Like it was pretty pretty
Okay.
vague. She thanks him for his help, but as she's leaving the room, he tells her that he could be even more useful in finding Andor, and she answers that he needs to move on, otherwise it's not her that he's gonna have to deal with if he continues. I think having these or sending out these false alarms or reports. So it's funny. I expected them to kind of like click, and I thought maybe he was gonna, because she says something, you're of service to the Empire, and I'm like, and that's what he repeats to her afterwards, and I figured something would happen, but you could see like she wants nothing to do with anyone. Like she wants to go on her own and solve this, and I would only assume get the credit in the end if something happens. I'm pretty sure it's not going to tell anyone that he was in there. So
Yeah, no, but I really love their interactions. Because we clearly saw that usually, she's the one obeying orders, from Pentagaz or even Yularen, but now she had her own worm to squash, and you could feel that finally she was above things a little bit, and
but she got Pentagaz's support now, right? And she probably
yeah.
has that confidence now that like he's got her back. So
Hmm.
yeah, and especially after the previous meeting that we saw earlier in the episode. So yeah, definitely she's got the confidence to act the way she's acting now. So.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And at the prison, well, and poor Andor was kind of in disbelief of what's going on. His facial expression throughout the episode, I think it's showing that he's flabbergasted of everything that's going on, and it's bigger than he thought he would even imagine, and while he tries to assimilate what's going on, and among other things, he notices that the prison seems to be short on staff, because when he arrived, there's a guard that says, "Well, sorry, I'm late, and
Yeah.
I was stuck in the shipping department, and I'm not sure what he says, but obviously they're short on staff, so he's taking mental notes, and he notices the extra boots on the rack when he walks down the stairs. So
Yeah.
the guy is thinking two steps ahead, I think.
Yeah.
And he obviously won't stay 6 years in prison because the one movie happens in 5 years. So mathematically, it obviously do not correspond, but. Um, and then he's taken to a place where he will be working. You can move on to the next picture if you want. And we meet Kino Lloyd, sorry, played by Supreme Leader Stoke. I mean Andy Serkis. So my friend Nico just texted me last night and says, "Hey, we got our own Snoke origin story now."
Yeah.
But joke aside, he explains to Cassian that the 5-2D unit, and he's the manager, and all units are in competition with each others. So they all work at some solar stations, like we see now, and each room are competing against each other for productivity. And all the rooms are also competing against each other. So it's pretty insane, It's like I don't know, Prison Break meets Squid Games.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
a
don't know.
little without all
And
the death, I guess. It's,
and the worst thing is that if they win the competition, they get flavor in their food. We'll get back to that later, but wow,
yeah.
what a cool reward!
Yeah. Yeah. So, so Cassian's assigned to table 5, which is running late because of his absence. Everybody at the table introduces themselves without even stopping their work. You can, really feel the urgency that they have to perform. There's that pressure there, and these things. I was trying to figure out if I had seen them anywhere before. Do you
The
have,
pieces they're building, yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was about to ask you. What do you think they are? But they could be, I don't know, maybe pieces for the Dead Star.
Well, that's what I was trying to
Uh,
figure out, but then I'm like, could it be with some of those hands that hold on to, that clamp onto TIE fighters or something like that, that
I
hold them
mean,
in, like, I've never really paid that much attention, but obviously it's
imagine
something that's
if
going to be
it's a
shipped
piece
there.
from the Dead Star. I mean, he's going to build a piece of the machine who's ultimately going to kill him in the Rogue One movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure the
That's pretty
timing of
twisted.
it though, right? Like the timing of how
Yeah,
long
I
it
would
took to
hope
make
that the Death
the.
Star will be a little bit more advanced
Yeah, that's a.
at that time, even if it's
Yeah,
still five
it's
years
quite
away.
the
But
rush job, yeah.
maybe
Um,
it's a part of a 8080. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just there's a lot of those that are being built, and it really looks like some kind of like claw or a
Yeah.
clamp of some sort. So I'm not
Maybe a
sure.
foot of for some, yeah,
I don't know.
for a walker, or yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I was wondering if you knew, but I mean, I guess maybe we'll eventually find out.
Mm-hmm.
So the team looks they look pretty like like a tight knit group, and everyone is completing their tasks like robots. It's like anyone who's done like a line work, I mean, will recognize this kind of a performance here. Then suddenly, Kino Loy announces that there will be a sprint segment for the next 39 minutes, and all
Mm-hmm.
the workers are visibly going overdrive in order to win the competition. And a voice announces that on the speaker that the team that finishes last will be disciplined. And Andor just, it's the first time I think of a few times where you see him looking this blank look on his face of like what is going on, and like it's and I think it was kind of even brought up at one point, like um I think it was Kino that had told him, be careful. Like if you're gonna lose your mind, keep it in, type thing. Like so, yeah, something along those
Mm-hmm.
lines. Right? He kind of like coaches him through. Like if you think this is going on, fight through it. If there is, don't show this. So it's kind of a bit of a pep talk they gave him, but you could see that like right away that he's starting to realize, man, this is just crazy. This is my life now, right, for the
Yeah,
next
I'm
six
in
years.
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah,
2,189 days,
yeah,
if I remember
I
it
think
right. Yeah.
so. Yeah,
So, meanwhile, in Coruscant, Mon Mothma and her husband are hosting yet another banquet. Uh, I'm starting to wonder if she does anything else than have banquets at her place, but
yeah.
I assume that the the portions at the Senate are rather boring, so we get to see the fun stuff. They drink some sort of traditional cocktail that has a worm inside. I thought
Yeah, that was
it was
disturbing.
pretty neat. Yeah, it would, it's something pretty neat to
She
see it.
passed
But
on it though, right? She's like, not for me. No, I'm good. I don't
uh,
need the worm. So
so Perrin even asked for a second one, probably to prove us how disgusting he already is.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll take hers. When she refuses,
Yeah,
yeah,
and Take Homa arrives to save the day for Manmatma, who's getting tired of hearing her husband, reminiscing of the past. Uh, and well, he tells Manmatma that he has more and more difficulty to move the money for her. So we can already, you know, understand that he agreed to what she proposed to him in the previous episode. So we're gonna find out some more, I guess, in the following episodes. But we also learned that there's a some sort of an expression that goes with the it replaces cheers. For us, it's Sagrana Tima, which means cheers, I guess, in the Chandrilan costume. So that
but
was pretty cool.
he seems to be a lot more on board and less resistant to the idea of what she's doing. Right? In this one, it looks
Yeah,
like he's really like he seems like he's part of it. So
mm,
a bit of a
for
change
sure.
in attitude there.
Before you go on, I just want to say hi to James Smart and Mary Camille, who are here tonight. So thanks for being with us on the chat. And if there's something you want to say, feel free to mention it, and we'll obviously address it when we see it.
So we move on back on Arkina 5. Cassian notices an inmate, Taga, communicating in sign language with someone else through the window. Um, as he looks out, you could see that it's when he's looking out at these tunnels. I remember looking out the window and he's like tunnel after tunnel filled with other inmates. It's like it just seems to be pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you like really the vast size and just how many people are in there. Adds
Those tunnel
to
reminded me of the one we see in Attack of the Clones
yeah,
on
Camino.
the Camino. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so when he arrives at his room, he learns that he has to eat from a tube, which is what you alluded to before, which is quite disturbing to look at. Um, and it says when his team wins a competition, well, the jail personnel will add flavor to the food. So I guess it's like a reward. Other than that, I guess it must taste like pretty much nothing. We also learn that the floor can become so hot that you will fry. I think there was mention about the flashing light. You have I think 7 seconds, or I forget how long you have to get to your bunk or
Yeah,
something
30,
like
30
that.
second. Yeah,
Yeah,
30
30
second.
second, yeah. So you got to watch out for those infamous red lights. Then they talk about the public order resenting the directive, so PORD, public order resentencing directive. There you go, got it. PORD, saying that all the census have doubled in the last few days, and I think it was more than double. Was it like six? He got 6 years instead of how long? 6 months.
Yeah, that's it.
So oh, you know what?
But I think that applied only for those who were already in jail
Okay,
before the events of Aldani. So
okay. I didn't do the
As
math.
if they had anything to do with those events.
So I guess if you do the math, at 365 days times 6 comes out to, yeah, about that, the 2200 or whatnot that Cassian got, right? So I guess they do follow the same years that we do, which is kind of weird considering that we base it on the rotation. Anyway, I'm not going to get too nitpicky on that.
Yeah.
So we see he's got 2,189 days left on his screen. So their sentences there. I mean, talk about, when you're at work and you don't want to stay close to the clock, so it doesn't feel like it's so long. Could you imagine this number going down from about 2,200 to zero? Must be brutal.
Yeah, but at least he won't have to engrave bars on the wall of his cell to count the days.
I guess that's one way to see it. So then there's a jump.
Yeah, we make a time jump of 30 days. The number on Cassian's screen now indicates 2159. Andor is visibly more at ease with his new routine. We see the prisoner taking a mist shower. At the same time, in one tight room, they really look like cattle in the shower. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was that the shower looked a lot like the gas chambers the Nazi used during the Holocaust.
You can't help but get that, but how many times it's been, like 3 or 4 times we talk about, like, how similar a lot of these things are to, like, the Nazi and the the camps, and it's just I guess they're trying to just make you feel even more about the emotion of what they're going through, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, he's not in the ambos anymore, that's for sure. They grab a clean uniform and they begin their day. Cassian is visibly a better worker and knows what needs to be done. It was really obvious that he had learned everything he had to be a proficient worker, and he's being pretty useful to the rest of the team now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if it was then or now that we saw that. Again, some of those blank looks, but he seems to have accepted more the fact of what he's going to be doing for, I guess, the next 6 years. Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, he's probably got some kind of plan working up after seeing the guy with the sign language and whatnot. But I mean, right now he knows that it's short-term wins he needs, I guess, and have this performance. So I guess he gets flavor in his food and whatnot, right? So.
And I don't know if you noticed that picture. That's exactly what I was hoping you had made a screen cap of this. But he watches the older guy in his team who is struggling to insert a cog or some sort of a cylinder, and he's looking at him. I was wondering if he was thinking that he's slowing down the group, and he might cost us a win at the end of the day. So, after seeing Cassian not being afraid to kill his friend Tivik in the beginning of Rogue One, I'm wondering if at some point he won't have to get rid, I don't want to say it that way, but of that worker in order to win a competition, because otherwise it would have blown up their plans for escaping the facility. So I don't know. Maybe he's gonna slip on the hot floor before the end of the next 2 episodes.
You worry me, Dom. Now I'm starting to think that my slideshow game needs to be on par. The way you think, it's like automatically, well, you don't do a good job. It's the end of you.
Yeah. So, because
you are the weakest link.
Yeah, he's looking at him and saying,
Yeah. Well, it does affect their livelihood. I mean, I don't know what that food tastes like or not tastes like, but I mean,
but it won't be for the flavor of the food for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be for helping the rest of the prisoner, escaping.
getting out of the prison. Well, whatever he's got in mind, right? So I mean, I guess we'll find out in the second episode of this arc here. So.
Definitely,
Go back on Ferrex. Bix and Brasso are taking care of Marva, who's sick. That doesn't stop the old lady as she heard herself trying to open an old tunnel under the hotel where the Empire had established their headquarters. So that the rebels could eventually attack the troopers by sunrise. So she's, like we had seen, she's sticking with the plan. She doesn't care. She's gonna go out swinging if she has
Yeah.
to. Um,
Well,
uh,
she's a rebel now.
yeah, yeah. I was glad to see Brasso back though. I mean, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he's
so,
cool.
So then we discover that Vel and Cinta are also on Ferrix, waiting to see if Andor shows up. I mean, basically her orders at this point are to eliminate him. So Cinta decides that she's going to rent a room and stay, while Vel leaves to avoid drawing too much attention. She's obviously not pleased with the situation. I mean, she was, we didn't see them reunite, but I mean, obviously she was worried about her the last time they
for sure.
split apart. So now I guess she's back, but you could see that Cinta is like she's
all business.
Yeah, she's on a different wavelength than Belle for sure,
Yeah.
right? So and Belle shows a lot more emotion, whereas Cinta is like, she says, the cause comes first type thing, right? Like I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. So yeah, they're not on the same wavelength when it comes to that.
Yeah,
sure,
and Val, I'm sure she was hoping for a quiet time with her a little bit, and but the cause has to come first.
So back
for you. Yeah. Okay. So Big stopped at Pax's shop and asked him if she can use the secret radio to contact Luton. At the other end, Clea is receiving the communication, but she advises Luton not to answer because they don't want to compromise the little operation, And on the other hand, I can understand what Luton is saying because he wants to see if she knows where Cassian is. But ultimately, he decides to shut down the radio, and then he leaves Coruscant and heads for Segron Milo, another planet we hear for the first time.
So, backing on Arcana 5, Cassian witnesses a fellow inmate take his own life, and he had that kind of blank, crazy look in his face that I'd mentioned previously with Cassian. Just like you could see, this guy is just at his wit's end, I guess, and just I don't remember if you see his number. I tried looking at the replay real quick, but you don't. But I would have been curious to see like if his number is like 10,300, whatever. Like maybe the guy's like, that's it, I'm done. But I think it would have been pretty dramatic had he had like 7 or something like that, and but I mean, that's probably maybe a debate that they had when producing this and making it. And they're like, showing that he had too much time would be too easy. Showing that he had very little time would be maybe too dramatic. So I guess they probably just skipped that altogether. So yeah, I mean, he basically just throws himself on the floor, wakes up everyone, and he was dead. What looks like to be pretty much instantaneously, right? So.
And the other a-hole who says, "Oh God, we're gonna have to smell."
Yeah, we're gonna have to smell this guy for the whole night. Like,
I mean, how rude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows how many times he's had to smell someone die, and
yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, so
it's probably not the first time he has to go through this.
So the next morning, Bix hears the banging. We heard on heard one of the corporals arrived. In episode 3.
I like that. I was like, oh, something's going on.
She walks to the square to see what's going on, and Captain Tigo spots her and sends his men after her. So she's being chased by.
Before you go further, James Smart says, "Shocking experience." Speaking of the guy who steps on the hot floor,
yeah.
I agree. So, and then on Segura Milo, Luton meets with our friend Saw Gerrera and offers him some military equipment in exchange for a meeting with Anto Krieger. Don't ask me who's Anto Krieger. I have searched around the web. I've never heard of him before, so Perhaps we're gonna find out some more about him in the upcoming episodes. But one thing is for sure, Saw Gerrera doesn't like him at all because he turns down Newton's offer. They don't. They obviously don't agree on the methods to use to get the job done. Luton wants to unite the rebel cells, but Saw and his partisans are more of a solitary group. And you know, he has a great speech at the end of this episode. He's mentioning all the different cells, and he gives a down point for each one of them, and I was like, wow, that guy first is an amazing actor, but that character rocks. I mean, he thinks he's the only one capable of doing something good against the Empire. So that was pretty impressive for Guerrero to say.
I'm curious to see if we're going to see him in whether it be in this season or next season, because he's in a lot worse shape 5 years from now than he is in this
Yeah,
episode, right? So
because he seems to have all his limbs.
yeah,
So
obviously something's going to go down that he'll be involved with. I mean, he's already marked up, as you can
yeah,
see, but I mean, definitely this doesn't look anything anywhere near as healthy as this in Rogue One. So
no, he looks in pretty good shape. So yeah,
yeah.
something will happen later on for sure.
So we go back. We see Bix gets arrested, and she's taken to Deidre, who has arrived on Ferrix. And Deidre intentionally makes sure that Bix sees that Pac was tortured to install fear in her. It's funny when the game she plays when Bix walks in, she's like, "Oh, get him out of here," like like playing dumb, but like yeah, it really seems to have shook Bix though when she sees it, right? So now it's her turn to be interrogated. So obviously put into that chair that we had basically seen him in, and closes the door to that, and we basically end the episode with a shot of Andor continuing, his assembly line work, and basically
Mm-hmm.
what I guess he's just accepting his role again. There's got to be something else cooking up in his mind, but that's how we pretty much wrapped up that episode.
Yeah, because if we add the facts that you know Cassian heard about the the prison being low on staff, looking at the boots, the other guy in the tunnel was making some signs to other people on in different tunnels. We can see that something is about to burst. That there's like a little insurrection that is about to happen, and I guess that we're going to find out in the following episode. But I got a lot of THX 738 vibes
Yeah.
from this episode. I also got some vibes from Squid Game, as I mentioned, and obviously a little of Prison Break uh, with
Well,
our friend Michael Schofield.
that's when when because you always get to watch the episodes before I do, and I guess with no spoiler, you always kind of give me like a hint of either what was the last time I could take I don't know how many more hours of this, and then this episode was basically THX meets Prison Break, and it's definitely hit it dead on. Like that's
Hmm.
definitely the vibe that I got when I seen it, especially visually. Um, so
The white uniforms, the white hallways, the
yeah,
white everything is white. So that was really THX style. And I like the fact that they did this because it's a little way to Lucas's first movie. So we see that Lucasfilm still remembers where they're coming from. So
it's funny because I continue to hear, and this probably didn't help anyone again as we bring this up, that who seem to be either rather enjoying the series or not enjoying it. It's back and forth, and a lot of people, you can see that people who are fans, or the older generation of fans, seem to really enjoy the series, and then some who are the more casual that just think it's slow
hmm
and boring. But like this is definitely not going to help that. And again, I think that um, in a few episodes from now, the whole series will be out, and someone will be able to get the the conclusions of every story arc and get them all at once. It'll be a
Yeah.
little easier to digest than waiting 1 week for an episode like this, where obviously this is development, right? And especially it's the first one, so I don't know. I really enjoyed the episode, especially visually. I thought it looked great, and
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it was as slow as the first episodes of the first two arcs.
no, well, I mean,
There
you
was a
said
little more
jump 30
action in this
days,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and you can see they're trying to push the envelope a little bit more.
Hmm.
There'd never been a 30-day. I don't even know if everything in the past had been 30 days, right? You basically had 3 days between their heist that they did.
Yeah.
So it's really quick. The only thing I'm not sure about the timing is when he went off and he was with that girl off on the, where he.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
the
what I
other
was about to
timing,
say
but everything
because
else has been fairly quick.
they seem to know each other, uh, you know, more than they if they had just met the night before.
Yeah,
Because she was saying, "Oh, you should buy those pizzas you like,"
yeah,
and
yeah. Yeah, she was
so
talking like they
she
were
knows
just a
him a little
couple.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for maybe at least a couple of weeks, I would guess. So, yeah. Well, before we go any further, James Smart says, "Is it just me, or we never find out what happened to Bix the first time she was arrested when her boyfriend got killed?" Yes, we saw it at the end of that episode. It's Pax and his son, the one who got tortured at the end of this episode. He rescued her, and they took her,
oh yeah,
and
and cuffed her
brought her
from
to
the wall.
safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's what happened after that.
And I guess it wasn't the Empire. I guess that was occupying the planet at the time, so there would be no recollection of who she was, right? It was
Exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Unless the corporal gave them a report of what happened during the operation, but I don't think that
yeah,
they're gonna mention that they shot. I was about to say an innocent man, but he's the guy who sounded the alarm, so
yeah.
he was not that innocent.
So, did you want to move on to Easter
Yeah, a
eggs now?
few things I found watching the episode. There was not too much Easter eggs, but one or two things are important to mention. This guy, which is a prisoner on that prison. This guy is called Melshi, and Melshi is an important character in the Rogue One movie. He's a member of the team who is going to help Cassian and Jyn Erso get the Death Star plan. So he's taking part in the first mission to rescue Jyn Erso from her carceral transport, the little power tank that transfer her, and then he goes to Scarif to retrieve the Death Star plan. So, and that's where he dies ultimately. So, uh, we might have found a new co-star for the rest of the Andor series now. So he might have a recurrent role.
Yeah, they're definitely no stranger to developing a character and having you grow some kind of emotional kind of attachment to them
Attachments. Yeah,
before and again giving more context to this character, right? So
and I'm sure that after seeing parts of him throughout the upcoming episodes, is gonna make his death even more dramatic when we watch the Rogue One movie.
I'm gonna have
So
to go back and watch Rogue One to see if he was part of that. I mean, obviously he was part of that group that showed up, but just how upfront and he was in that group that volunteered to go with her, right? So, I mean, if he was just somewhere in the back, but I mean, obviously you get some camera time, then you're usually one of the bigger characters. So
yeah, he's the communication officer, I think, in the group. So
okay,
uh, you know he's not at the top of the rank, but he's up there. Uh, and in Luton's shop, yeah, we see again the temple guard mask. But right next to it, we see Padme's some a similar headpiece to to the one Padme wore in Episode 2, Attack of the Clone. There it is. While she was traveling with Anakin after her life was threatened by Jango Fett. And, well, guess what? It's also for sale at Galaxy's Edge if you want to purchase it.
Yeah, that one that's not on my list of things to get, but yeah, it's I
I
mean
think it's sold for $50, so it's not that expensive. But
it's probably not made out of steel then, I think.
no, 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 probably not.
Okay.
It must be like a
Plastic
PVC
or
or
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean if that was yeah, it would weigh quite a bit, so yeah, it looks
But
like it's
it,
pretty
it
much that
looks great.
design, right?
The weathering seems to be pretty well done,
Hmm.
and maybe you would have to see it in person. But yeah, obviously it's one of the few objects that I don't have in my collection from Galaxy's Edge.
Well, you're gonna have to fix that, and you're gonna have to wear it in your review. So, it's,
Mhm.
I wouldn't buy
Well,
either of those pieces
buy it
personally,
and I'll
but
review it.
yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't buy either
uh,
of those pieces. But I wasn't a fan of. Geez, her name is escaping me now. Maz.
uh, the statue, Maskanata.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wasn't a fan of Maz that much. So
Yeah, well, we didn't see much of her, so
well, I didn't mind her as much, but then in episode 8, I thought was absolutely ridiculous the little bit that we saw of her with the jetpack and that. But I mean, again, that's
yeah,
episode for
but
me in a
maybe we could
nutshell.
get an animated series. No, not based on her, but in which she would pop out sometimes. Uh,
House of Naboo says that it's made out of hard plastic, and he just received his this week, actually.
cool. Thanks
Yeah,
for
so
letting
it
us
must
know.
be yeah. So I mean, obviously for the weight, you almost don't have a choice. But I'm curious to see if someone's gonna be wearing that in January when I go. So
Yeah.
and
Well,
then
perhaps your wife will want to cosplay then.
nah, she's not really into I've had ideas and we've kind of like briefly touched on Ray at one point, but no, she's not the. It's my thing, I guess, and the kids.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. Um, so I think what we have upcoming, I think tomorrow is your review. You mentioned you're talking about is the Vader helmets tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be comparing both version, the 2015 and the 2022 version of Vader's helmet. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what differences they've made. They've made at least two significant ones, and maybe a few more subtles. But
What about the inside, like because I know that cosmetically, I mean, even though not everything is functional, just like when you break it open, and you look
yeah,
at what's inside, it's just that's what like it doesn't pay justice. I've seen people display it, and I want to kind of do that to mine where they have it like on a 3 level thing. The
yeah,
top is lifted, and then you have like the mass is lifted, so you can kind of look at it.
hmm
So I'm gonna try that. Some guy, I think it's some guy that sells a 3D printed one or a stand, but it's like $100 something. But some other people have done it with like the paper towel rolls that you can get at the Dollarama and stuff like
yeah,
that. So I just don't have much of a helmet display going on, so I
hmm
gotta maybe try to figure out how I could display because I do have about 4 or 5 now. So I don't know. Could be a good idea to get something going. Makes it a little bit more visually appealing. But that helmet is definitely you're like, oh, Vader helmet. Yeah, but look at this. You pop off the top, you rip off the mask, and then you look at the mechanics inside, and especially the audio effect that they have when you have the mask on and off, which is like that Anakin that breathing, and then you have the Vader breathing. So it's
hmm
I assume it's going to do that with the other mask as well, the one the second version that they released, or
yeah, yeah. The sounds are identical from
okay,
one element to the other. So when you have half of it, you hear the Vader like in distress, like I like
the
to say.
wheezing, I guess, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So you can get the feel that his respiratory system is not functioning normally. Uh, and then when you assemble it, you get and even when you put the frontal piece and the neck piece together, it makes like a clamp sound. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And then
Well, like
you
from
add the top
episode three,
portion.
right at the end of episode three, when they
Yeah,
finally put that part on, and you first
you
hear
get the
that breathing for the first time. Yeah.
so that's pretty neat. And then you add the top portion. But yeah, it's I'm glad to have both. Honestly, uh, my buddy Nico sold the older version, but they're similar and yet very different from each other. So uh, I'm glad to have both version, and perhaps at some point I'm going to need some space, and I'll decide to sell one of them. But the older version, it brings me back to my childhood because when I was younger, the helmet was all black in my mind. I didn't pay attention to the nuance in gray tone and the red lenses we see more in episode 4 and Rogue One. Uh, that kind of goes away in episode 5 and 6. So to me, the 2015 version was the typical Darth Vader helmet. But then you notice that the neck portion is much longer in the early episodes, and the lenses are red, and the frontal piece of the mask is not totally black. It has like a charcoal gray tones in it. So the new version captured those details a lot better. So
So besides that, what we have coming up is I'm going to see the fan. You've already the fan film or the documentary that you've already seen.
mhm,
In French, it's Que la fan soit avec toi. In English, you said it's called May the Fan Be With You.
mhm.
So if anyone does head out to see it, it's playing only it's one having one showing at was it La Québécoise? Should be more
La
prepared to
Cinémathèque
Cinémathèque
québécoise.
Québécoise. I think it's at 3 p.m. on Sunday if you're in the area. It's in French, but I know that the release when it's going to be out, I guess in digital or whatnot, it's going to have the English subtitles.
Yeah,
So I mean, in this world we're talking before about like Netflix and everything, subtitle is not an issue anymore. People have grown
yeah.
accustomed to it, and
He's working on that. I spoke with the director a few days ago, and he's working on having it released on Netflix and other streaming media. So hopefully it's gonna happen because it's a pretty cool documentary. We follow Steve Goldwee from Kaya Boutique, who
your toy
embarks on a
pusher.
journey. Yeah,
Yeah,
he embarks on the journey with our friend Maligus, who is a huge Star Wars fan. Who eventually became, well, I shouldn't reveal any spoiler, but during the documentary, he's in the process of becoming the CEO of the 501st Legion, uh, the Imperial Fortress, which is the garrison we have here in Quebec. Uh, and you see the process he has to go with, and the two of them travel to Tunisia.
yeah. So
And
it covers that. I think there's also Jeff from Jeff and his wife from
yeah,
the Space Trash Show, and
mhm.
so we'll I mean, I'm gonna get to see it this weekend, and we can probably have a spoiler-free review
Yeah,
next
sure,
week. Maybe even speak to Mark or Malgus to see if anyone else wants to chime in, maybe
to
on
join us. Yeah,
on the
it would be cool.
conversation eventually. So I'm looking forward to that this weekend. I'm going with a friend of mine. And then after that, we're going to try to spice things up a little bit in the upcoming weeks. Try
Well,
to get a more of a
before
rotation.
we do like maybe some game streaming, we'll do a special episode on the Tales of the Jedi episodes that came out yesterday. They're absolutely amazing. I'm a huge Clone Wars fan,
Yeah, I'm halfway
and
through them. I didn't get to finish them, but so far they're quite incredible. But
oh yeah, and there's at
classic
least
Filoni.
yeah, classic Filoni, and there's one episode, I think it's not in the one you saw, where we see without revealing any spoilers, we see the fate of Yaddle. Uh, So it's going to be pretty interesting to
And
see.
they're short. They're like nine. So I wasn't sure what to expect when because it was kind of late yesterday. I
Hmm.
started watching them and they were like about 19 minutes long. So and I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if
it
we're gonna
takes
get
about 80 minutes to see all six
right.
episodes.
So I wasn't sure if we're gonna get like the 3 Ahsoka episodes and then the Dooku episodes after. But like
Yeah,
it's funny. It starts off you get the Ahsoka and then so there's a good mix. So it's not like if there's no story arc. You can't follow 3 episodes and the 3 episodes. It's really a good
yeah,
mix. It keeps
yeah.
you
They're
captivated.
following
So
the chronology of the events
yeah,
from the timeline.
yeah. I mean,
So
I don't, between the 2 episodes of Dooku and he's aged, I don't know how much, right? So it's like I think he doesn't even
yeah,
have a beard the first time, and but yeah, I mean, we obviously get to see Qui-Gon in there. I'm not sure
yeah.
that's
That's
Liam Neeson's voice in the first episode. I'm not sure. I mean, again, I didn't
and
watch the whole
the first
thing,
one
or
it's not, but when we see Qui-Gon, who looks like the
a
what he was looking
traditional
like in
look.
the
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, yeah, that was him.
Okay. So
So
yeah, I'm gonna try to finish that probably. I could probably do that tonight. So, so yeah, so we have that coming up, and in the upcoming weeks after that, we're gonna try to um, have a little bit of a treat for maybe some of the younger audience or the gamers that are out there. Maybe
mhm.
we can have a vote or something on the Facebook page to see if there's a preference in what they'd like to see. I mean, there's always the never-ending Lego games of open
Mhm.
world. They have all 9 episodes. I think I've gone
What a great game,
through.
right?
Yeah, I think I've gone through 2 or 3 of the episodes. So I mean, you can go through them like real quick, go through the story mode, follow it, or if you want to like completionist, or I don't know what term it is. I'm a little bit like that, or I like to break open, find all the stuff, but then
Yeah, yeah. On the side quest.
yeah, but then you realize, well, you got to be a scavenger to reach this, and I don't have a scavenger yet, so you got to come back and all this stuff. So it's not like playing like an open world Arkham Asylum type thing. You really got to
Hmm.
go move forward and then come back to these worlds. So yeah, there's a lot of hours to be played in that, and there's extra, I think, more add-ons coming soon, so we can see what's going to happen with that. I mean, we can also do the Fallen Order with the sequel coming out. I think there's an
Yeah.
announcement that they said before the end of the year, and they
Will we get
typically,
some more details about the game, right?
yeah. And from what I'm hearing, I mean, who knows? But they like to make this announcement to have a shorter marketing plan. So like usually like
Okay.
kind of like the way the GTA does it, the Grand Theft Auto, they
Hmm.
usually won't say
Yeah.
anything, and then they'll be like, "Here's the announcement. Oh, and by the way, the game is coming out in a few months," rather than this game's coming out. Then you don't hear anything
In
about it
three
for
years.
like for like 3 years. But I mean, GTA is another story. It's been 10 years, I think, that they're milking GTA 5.
Wow.
And then another option we can do is just a little bit more lighthearted Fortnite. I can always go and get smoked by a bunch of 12-year-olds that are going to emote me as soon as they've destroyed me. So, but I mean, we can go through. I mean, I pretty much bought all the skins that were Star Wars because I had to. But we
Nice.
can go through that and see. I mean, they're really well detailed for anyone who hasn't tried it. That's just some of the skins that they have, but Vader's come out, Obi-Wan's come out. Now there's rumors that Luke Skywalker is going to come out too. So lots of cool stuff coming up. So yeah, we're going to try to get that in the rotation and maybe get probably do it a little bit earlier to get the kids if they want to watch that. It seems to be pretty popular watching video games on YouTube, and I've been a victim of doing that myself. So
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing some more of Jedi Fallen Order personally, especially with the sequel coming out.
refresh the
Uh,
story a bit.
yeah, refresh the story and making sure that we remember all the name of the crew from the Mantis, if
Yeah,
my memory is right. So yeah, and well, as we see in the upper left corner of my screen, I already have the Calcristus lightsaber. I bought two so I could form the Jerotapal staff, and I really liked that movie, and I'm hoping they're gonna make what's her name, Sir Junda.
the girl in
The
in the ship you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I freaked out when
The,
I found out that was a girl from Mad TV at one point. Did you know that? Like,
no, I didn't know that,
I
but
I was
I
focusing
saw
on
her
her
real
eyes
face.
pretty
But
much the whole time because it was
okay,
just so. I thought it was maybe it was not a bug, but I thought maybe. But yeah, no, she's really like that, and yeah, it was a girl from Mad TV. So anyway, it was freaked me out to see her involved in the Star Wars. But yeah, great characters in there. So
Yeah, so if they make her saber, perhaps they could make a connector to, to have it assembled with Cal Kestis lightsaber, so we can get the final version of his staff. The one he uses to defeat the Inquisitor and tries to fight against Vader.
yeah, yeah. Spoiler,
So
spoiler alert.
yeah, so yeah, sorry about that.
But
Well,
yeah,
the,
if you haven't
the game
played this yet, it's
has been
been
out
yeah,
for a few years, yeah.
yeah.
So
But we could
I won't
see,
feel I won't feel too bad revealing some details about the game, and there's like gameplays all over the web now. So
but this playthrough, I'm gonna go get my double lightsaber earlier. I
hmm
didn't know you can go there. Because like the planets are available. I'm drawing a blank. Darth Maul's planet there. Um,
Datamir.
yeah, so it shows up on the map, but I'm like, well, that's not where my mission is. But you can go, and you can get
Okay.
the double lightsaber. You can get it before moving on if you want to. So I might do
Ah,
that just for the heck of it. But obviously, I
yeah.
think that the enemies are a little bit stronger. So, but yeah, and
All right.
so
So it might get a bit tougher to go through the whole process, but who cares?
yeah,
We're here
yeah,
to have fun. So
exactly. So that looks like it's about our time, Dom. But
yeah.
is there anything you want to add?
Well, if you're showing the like and subscribe sign at the bottom of the screen, so we're still on the quest to reach 1,000 subs. As you mentioned when we opened the show, we're 69 members away from reaching that goal. So if you want to help me out, well, I would really appreciate it. And we're at a good pace. We're getting 1 or 2 subs per day. So hopefully, before the end of the year, I will be able to celebrate that milestone. And if it happens, I'll make a special video to thank you guys and make sure that you know I show you my appreciation for your support. And don't miss tomorrow's review. For the Darth Vader Black Series helmet comparison. And well, that's it. So for the Star Wars Artifact Show, I'm Dominic. He's Eric. Enjoy the rest of your evening, my friends.
All right. See ya, everyone.
Bye.